We'll call the Wednesday, July 30th, Trumbull County Investment Advisory Committee meeting to order. Roll call, Treasurer Lamacusa here, Commissioner Hernandez,
Here.
Commissioner Bernard,
Here.
Commissioner Malloy,
Here.
Clerk of Courts Law.
Here.
For the record, others in attendance, Augustino Ragazzino, Treasurer-elect, Lisa D'Annunzio Blair, Clerk. Help me.
Chrissy Stein.
Chrissy Stein, thank you. Clerk. And motions in order to accept the April 30th minutes. Motion Hernandez, second Malloy, roll call Hernandez.
Yes.
Malloy.
Yes.
Bernard.
Yes.
Law.
Yes.
Lamacusa, yes. That'll bring us to item 3, review of second quarter 2025 investment report. To make that report, Chief Deputy Gerhardt. I forgot to put her on the others in attendance.
Good morning, everyone.
Morning.
I have provided you each a packet at your desk if you'd like to follow along with me as I review. We're going to start with the transmittal letter. It's the first item in your packet on the treasurer's letterhead. It details the contents of the reporting packet as well as who may have affected transactions on behalf of the investment authority for the period of the reports. I'm going to review and highlight the various reports that we have listed here. If at any point you have any questions, please feel free to interject, and Treasurer Lamacusa and I will do our best to address them. We'll also have time at the end. Let's move over to page 1. This is the summary of investment balances for the month end June of 2025. As you can see, there was approximately $139 million invested. The reports that we're going to go over today will focus on the certificates of deposit and securities. So I'd like to take a quick moment to review the Fed funds rate as well as the Star Ohio overnight yield rates. These two rates are not included in your materials. With regards to the Fed funds rate, it has been unchanged since December 2024 when it was moved to the range of 4.25% to 4.5%. The July Federal Open Market Committee meeting wraps up today. From what we've read, a rate change is not expected to occur with this current meeting, although future decreases are a possibility. Due to the current economic and political climate, it is very difficult to predict what is going to occur going forward in the future. Now, moving on to the Star Ohio rates, just to give you an idea over the last year where the overnight yield has been. At the end of June of 2024, it was at 5.45%. As of September 30th, it moved down to 5.08%. And at the end of December, it was at 4.6. Now, with regards to 2025, at the end of our first quarter, it was at 4.48. At the end of April, 4.49. At the end of May, 4.48. And at the end of June, it was at 4.48. And then as of yesterday, it was at 4.47. So it's been hovering right around there. Now let's move on to page 2. This is our quarterly CD interest history report. It is the first of our CD reports. As you can see, there were no interest transactions to be reported for the second quarter. If we move over to page 3, you'll find the quarterly CD purchase report. And as you can see here, Treasurer Lamacusa did not make any new investments in CDs during the quarter. The final CD report is our quarterly CD inventory report on page 4. And as you can see, there were no transactions or balances to report for CDs for the quarter. Now let's move over to page 5. This is the first of our security reports. It's our quarterly security interest history. And as you can see there in the lower right-hand corner, the total interest that was processed by the Treasurer's Office during the quarter for securities was $179,537.50. Of this, the low rate was 0.71%, and that was earned on a matured Federal Farm Credit Bank security that was purchased in 2021, and it's the top item listed there. And then the high rate, which is actually the second item listed there, was a 4.55% Federal Home Loan Bank security that was purchased in 2024. Now let's move over to page 6. This is our quarterly security purchase report. As you can see, Treasurer Lamon-Kusa invested in 5 securities totaling $6 million. The terms ranged from 2 years up to 4.5 years, with the max that we can invest in is 5 generally. All of them have fixed coupon rates with various call structures. And as you can see in the callable column there, we have annual call, quarterly call, continuous call, another quarterly call, and then a one-time call. Now let's move over to page 7. This is the first page of our quarterly security inventory report. As usual, at the top in the bold red font, we have our maturity and call activity that occurred during the quarter. In April, there was $2 million that matured. In May, $1 million matured, and there were no maturities or calls in June. The outstanding securities are listed there in order of maturity, and the new ones that were invested in during the quarter are incorporated in the bold green font. And you can see the first item that's listed here was a $1 million security that actually matured in July. Now, if we flip back to page 10, there's a nice little summary that shows what occurred with regards to the securities for the quarter. It's on the left-hand side there on page 10, and it shows that there was a previous quarter book value of $38,250,000, and then during the quarter we had $3 million that matured, $6 million that was invested in, giving a book value of $41,250,000. Then over on the right-hand side there, you can see a bar graph that shows the maturity schedule for the securities. And we had, again, that one that matured in July all the way out to 4.5 years. Now let's move on to page 11. This is our interest versus fees comparison. The budgeted interest that the Treasurer's Office submitted back in the fall of 2024 for 2025 was $4,422,435.61. The actual interest receipts that are reflected here as of June 30th of $2,515,930.15 reflects that we are currently on track to meet that budget. The Treasurer's Office will be submitting a letter to the auditor today to increase our estimate for 2025 interest revenue by $250,000, bringing the 2025 estimate to $4,672,435.61. Now, as you're aware, the economy is very volatile at this time. The Treasurer's Office will continue to monitor our expectations and then update you at the meetings as necessary. Now let's move on to the last item that you have in your packet. It is the Form 6 for the last day of the quarter, which was June 30th. As always, this first page of the Form 6 reflects the receipts and disbursements that flowed through the Treasurer's Office during that day. The second page of the Form 6 reflects the detail of where the balances are as of June 30th, including the investments that we just reviewed. So this concludes the second quarter 25 reports. Do we have any questions? Okay, great. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Gerhart.
You're welcome. I'll turn it over to Sam.
Appreciate the thoroughness.
Motion's in order to accept the report. Motion Hernandez, second Malloy. Roll call Hernandez,
Yes.
Malloy,
Yes.
Bernard,
Yes.
Law,
Yes.
Lamon-Kusa, yes. That brings us to item number 4 in your packet. Review of investment policy. There is no need for review at this time. I lost my pen. Item 5, old business. I'll reflect back a little bit. Thank everybody for all the time and effort they've given me over my years. I tried to figure out this morning, and I just ran out of time, how many investment advisory committee meetings I've been to, and I'd have to say, it's definitely 4 a year, so. Mr. Mikulakis used to bring, in his term of office, I was here for every investment advisory committee meeting. As Ms. Gerhart makes the report, I made the report back then, so, going on quite a few investment advisory committee meetings. Very thankful for the board and appreciative of all the years of service. Also a little happy that my last meeting gives a little bit of light at the end of the tunnel, even though we're in such a volatile market right now and such volatile times. I mean, the last guy in the world I would ever want to be is the Fed chairman. No matter what decision the man makes, 7,530,000 people and a guy at the White House disagree with what he says. If he says something's blue, it's not blue. If he says something's red, it's not red. So I think the man's doing a good job. I do believe that you are going to see some drops, but I don't believe I've been saying that, and I think if I was sitting in your chairs, I'd say this guy don't know what the hell he's talking about, because he's been telling us every meeting there's going to be some cuts, and they aren't happening. I think that the earliest you're going to see them, though, is going to be December of when's the next report would be September. That I don't think anything's going to happen. It'll be the one after that one. So, but if anything, it's keeping us a little bit afloat. As you can see in your reports and the outstanding report that Ms. Gerhardt has given, that a lot of our monies are with Star Ohio right now, and there's a reason for that. Star Ohio, I mean, I would love to buy $10 million worth of CDs off of local banks, but local banks have no CDs to offer us. Star Ohio invests quite heavily in commercial paper, which I do not invest in. But the greatest thing about Star Ohio is if something goes sour a little bit, where we see that things are starting to fall, we can pull the money out of Star Ohio in 24 hours. So that's the better part of being there. But we're going to continue to take benefit of the fine amount of interest we're earning through Star Ohio, and hopefully earn. My deepest heart wanted to tell you we'd hit 5 million this year, but I'm a little below that. So, but I think we'll be, the number that Ms. Gerhardt has given you is definitely going to be a reachable number. So I thank her for all her hard work and all the effort she puts in. That's all I have under old business. Anyone else? Mr. Malloy.
Mr. Lamakusa, today we'll be voting on the banking institutions. How does that relate to this?
Well, and thank you for asking that. I felt that you will be accepting the depository agreements today. Trumbull County is not unique to depository agreements. It's a state statute. Everyone has to have a depository agreement every 4 years. Trumbull County and I'd say about 85 of my sister counties have their investment people also sign the investment policy. So today, what you're voting on is enabling us to have our monies in depository banking institutions and use investment advisory committee, purchase companies to purchase securities off of. So we'll be signing the investment policy with those two companies as well. But basically, it splashes back to this to enable us to have investments. The main thing of the depository agreement, though, is to put money into our banking. Ms. Gerhardt shows you in the interest, what do you call that report? Interest versus fees, how the bulk of our banking fees are just about consumed. For many years, it was a great idea that Ms. Gerhardt had, showing the interest in the fees in the report, because we did not do that previously. What we would do would be just reduce the interest number. And for years, we just reduced the interest number due to fees, and unfortunately, nobody ever questioned why we were doing it. And then I had the wherewithal to bring Ms. Gerhart on board, a former state auditor, and when she seen my report that didn't show that, she asked, why aren't we doing that? And I said, well, monkey see, monkey do. When you do something one way for 500 years, you just continue to do it that way. So the basis of, to try to answer your question, Mr. Malloy, the basis of what you do today has more of a bearing on our depository agreement, but all of these monies do come into play. Without those depository agreements, without the investment folks signing off on their understanding of our policies, we cannot invest one dime.
Okay, so
And-
this gives us the permission to deposit in those, and then whether you use Stiefel or Huntington or whatever else, that's a separate.
Go ahead, go ahead.
The depository agreements that you'll be basically relate to your checking, your savings. And it also enables us to invest in CDs, which has not invested in CDs as of late. But it will enable Treasurer Regazzino to invest in CDs at those banks because they have to be designated as depository. And then the investment policy that you will be signing for each of the banks required of them by the Ohio Revised Code. The Ohio Revised Code also requires that our investment brokers investing with signs up. So Stiefel our Treasurer Lamacusa already signed the investment policies in the past. Treasurer Lamacusa has a depository agreement. Also has the broker signing by the broker. Matter of Sam's policy saying, hey, you guys gotta remember, this is our. Keep that on file because it is.
And if I could interject one other thing, Tammy, and this has been a question of the prosecutor's office, that we're not bound to just those two investment brokers. If we come along down the road 2 years into this cycle and have another investment advisor or another bond person that we wish to purchase off of, as long as they sign off on all of the same paperwork, and we can invest through them as well. That's been a little bit of a sore spot that people think, well, then you're stuck with the same two bond agencies for the term of the depository agreement. And that's not true. We can add, now we can't add any depository banks at all. Go ahead.
The agreements that you're signing.
But
As
what-
Sam said, you could, treasure.
Gotcha.
The code has been updated, the Ohio Revised Code that does kind of open up the depository agreement process. During this. If you open it up again during that time. At the same time, the one. That is a new addition.
There has to be a
Last time.
determined need though.
So, you can open it back up one time. Add additional banks, if say.
Gotcha.
But the same code says there has to be a determined need. I agree wholeheartedly with what Ms. We can't open it up if Texas corporation banks want to become a part of the deposit because there's no determined need. they don't have a depository county, so you can only open it up for a determined need.
What would constitute a need?
As Ms. Gerhart has mentioned, the new bank opens in Trumbull County and they wish to do business. They have to have a location and
Or there's a merger or something with banks, someone buys someone
mergers
else.
the code doesn't require a change on the merger. We just document the merger and I mean, if the code required a change and if the code required a change on a merger, you could have some trouble because and not us, but there's some small counties that, and the particular statute that is now new was created in a lot because of needs of some of the smaller counties. Believe it or not, there's some small counties that only have one bank in their county, so that bank closes, they can't shut down. You follow what I'm getting to, so. That's a determined need. Those determined needs, they can then go outside their own county. But mergers and name changes we still fly under this agreement here with merger. Document them, we'll come up and document it. And if they have office changes and everything, they'll have to sign the deposit or the investment policy and everything and so forth.
Okay, not to, but
Sorry.
this is a learning experience for a lot of us here, so.
Taking too long.
No, this is great. You'd mentioned about credit unions. Can the new treasurer, can we invest in credit unions? Like I know you said CDs, bonds, investments is a way.
That would be a question for the prosecutor's office to answer. There is do you agree? There is a little caveat in the code, but they have that credit union and so forth has to meet certain guidelines. And I do not believe that any of our credit unions meet those certain guidelines under the and the only reason I'm not that familiar with these changes are relatively going on 2 years of age and that comes back to an issue I brought up earlier. There are some counties that have no banks, but they have credit unions. So that's some of the reason of some of the change. But I don't believe that the credit unions in Trumbull County meet the standard. But that's not a Sam Lemon-Cruz question. That's a county prosecutor question to
Thank you.
answer. Okay?
Thank you.
I help you? But I did. You see how much I rely on this young lady. Yeah? She don't like to talk over me though. I got to break her.
I have not read the code in a few months. Depositories just like.
Well, that's the caveat for the credit unions. You just hit the nail on the head. There are some credit unions that are classified as savings and loans, not in Trumbull County. That's what I'm getting. You just hit the caveat right on the head. That's how we work together. We throw stuff at each other and answer each other's questions. So works out pretty good. There is no open committee. No, we're on new business, huh? We're done with new business. I don't think Mr. Malloy has any. I'm shutting him down. He's got another meeting to go to. Committee member, there is no committees to report. Item 8, public comments. There's some folks that walked in. You'll have to sign the sign-in sheet because you did end up being a part of the meeting. Comment, you can do that, but you'll still have to sign. What you're at is it's referred to as Trumbull County Investment Advisory Committee meeting. 4 quarterly reports required a year. Your commissioners serve on the Investment Advisory Committee along with Clerk of Courts Law and Treasurer Lamb. That's the meeting you're attending. Ray Smith's just early for the next meeting, but he'll still sign this sheet too. Anything else?
Thank you for your service, Sam. This is the last meeting we have with you.
The next meeting will be, you've got my notes. Next meeting, help me. The last Wednesday of October, thank you. And at that meeting, you will have a reorganizational meeting along with a regular meeting. I'll have to do a reorganizational meeting at that.
Well, again, thank you for your years of
You're welcome.
service. It's
Thank
been a
you.
pleasure. Welcome, Mr. Ragazzino. And we look forward to hitting that 5 million mark by the end of the year, hopefully still. Maybe something will happen.
Motion Bernard to adjourn, second Hernandez. Roll call Bernard.
Yes.
Hernandez.
Yes.
Malloy.
Yes,
Thank you, gentlemen.
thank you.
I like how you run that meeting, Sam.
Wall. Yes. Sorry.